This is how you do a Friday afternoon. Hip camping, 15 minutes from home. We weren't sure we were going to get into this site, but now we're in here. This is a little bit of paradise. So happy weekend. Friday afternoons done right. This is us for the next 2 nights. Does not get any better than this. If you want to see how our weekend goes, stay tuned. So another weekend, another hip camp. This one's close to home for us, 15 minutes from home in the Mount Cotton area. It's Tranquil Bush Retreat. It was a little bit tricky to get in here yesterday afternoon. Bit of a steep driveway coming in, a bit tight to get the van in, so I definitely wouldn't be bringing anything bigger than our 16-foot off-road van in here, or semi-off-road van. But great little spot once you get in here. Camped on the dam, and the dam is apparently stocked with Australian bass. You can go fishing in there, but it's all catch and release, barbless hooks only. So I didn't bring any fishing gear this time, but if we come back here, I'll definitely be bringing a rod. Nice grass, massive fire pit. She's a cracker, that one too. I'll be cooking a pork roast in the camp oven on that tonight. Pricing's about $20 a night per person in here, which is about average and definitely well worth it. There's no facilities here. You do need to be self-contained with your toileting and showers, that type of thing. I don't think there's any water available on site, so you do need to be fully self-sufficient. This campsite that we're actually on is the owner's personal campsite. They don't normally have hip campers on this site unless it's a special request. You may be able to get this site like we did. Got in contact with them before just to make sure we could get the van in, and this is the site that they suggested, which actually turned out to be very nice. It's super friendly, the hosts here, super friendly, do anything for you. They even had the fire going for us when we come in, so I've never ever had that happen before, and thanks to the owners for welcoming us with open arms to come and camp on their property, as most hip campers do. But there's the noise of the birds in the trees, if you can hear it. You do get a few planes flying over, but it is nice just to get away here and relax for the weekend. We'll get up the hill there later on, follow this track up, and we'll go up there and show you where the actual hip campsite is. It's just over the back of the dam up there in the bush. You still got access to the dam, just not camped right on it. So if you do book this site, Tranquil Bush Retreat, you may not get this site that we're actually camped on here with the van. It's definitely good to get away and forget about life as we know it, working 5 days a week, flat out. Especially Mandy lately, she's been under the pump, so good to get away and just relax. And being camped on the dam is just an added little bonus. One thing we have noticed so far coming in last night is there's no phone service, very limited phone service in here. Must be a bit of a black spot down in this gully, so we have got the Starlink set up, and it's a good test for the Starlink. I will show you the full setup in another video coming soon, but it's a good test for it. Being camped in here and amongst all these trees with no clear view of the southern sky, for anybody that knows Starlink and how it works. We've still got reasonable reception on that. We haven't tried connecting to the internet or anything, but it did connect to watch a movie on the TV in the van there last night, so that's all you can ask for. Anyway, today's plans, we're going to go for a drive down to Mount Cotton. Mandy's found a nice bakery down that way, so we're going to go and check that out and just go for a bit of a scenic drive around. There's a lot to see and do in this area if you're interested, or you can just sit back at camp and do nothing. So, is it bakery time? Bakery time. That was a good little drive down to Mount Cotton, up and around the hills, a bit of a scenic drive. It's so local here, and we know the area pretty well, but going to find another great little bakery with probably the best pie, you reckon? By far. By far the best pies anywhere. It's a little bakery, sourdough something it was called, wasn't it? In the Mount Cotton shopping centre. While you're there, you got the super IGA, so now we're going to end up going home with more food than what we come with, but that's not a bad thing. Anyway, back at camp now, and we'll see what the day brings. Righto, I've got to talk quiet on this because I don't want Mandy to know what I'm up to. Every time we go kayaking, it always ends up being a race, and she ends up winning every time. So I'm going to fix this problem, and I'm going to go e-kayaking. You got your e-bikes, your e-scooters, your e-cars. Well, I'm going to bolt a motor onto this, and we're going to have an e-kayak, electric. It's not going to save the world like all the rest of the e-cars that are environmentally friendly, but hopefully this will give me that extra couple of horsepower that I need to beat Mandy in the kayak race. So what we've got here, we've got the little water snake, 24-pound thrust out of that. And a little 60 amp lithium battery. We'll bolt those on and we'll get her out on this dam here. We'll give it a crack, a bit of a trial run before we get out on the Condamine River again and the race is on. Hope you're enjoying the video, guys. If you are, please hit the like button and the subscribe button and the notifications so it'll ding and you won't miss a thing of any of our upcoming adventures.
Brad, what are you doing out there? What are you up to?
Nothing going on out here. Righto, we've got her bolted on. Let's get her in the water and see how this goes. Hopefully Mandy doesn't see what I'm up to. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Oh yeah, how good. And that's the low speed. I'll come around here and we'll click her into top gear and see what happens. Oh, oh yeah. Woo-hoo! Away we go. Well, that's definitely going to help in the race. Bring it on. Well, there you go. That works a treat. There you go. E-kayak. Round and round in circles on the little dam, but she works a treat. It's definitely gonna help me win races, for one, against Mandy. And two, when we get out in the Condamine River to those bigger water holes like Yarramalong and Cecil Plains, you can go kilometres up the creek or the river. You don't have to worry about paddle power. That's a win for the e-kayak. Time to chase the flies and light the fires. It's bush cooking with Brad. Righto, tonight's menu, roast pork rolls in the camp oven on the fire. So, to cook this with Brad's bush cooking, you need to have a good fire and plenty of coals. So I've had that burning for a good couple of hours. Camp oven's on, it's preheating. Even though you don't need coals in this weather, 30 plus degrees today, but it's plenty of heat there, so it's preheated and nearly ready to go. Then, it's not a technical dish, but it's fairly simple. But to make sure you get some crackling, I'd like to dry that. I've had paper towels sitting on that for quite a while. Now, I'm just going to salt it, and then we'll get the camp oven ready to go, get some coals under it, and we'll drop her in. About 2 hours to cook a big bit of pork like that. Hopefully we get a bit of crackling. But the technical side of it is a piece of wire. I'll show you that soon. Shoe flies. Okay, let's see how we go here. Plenty of salt. Nice coarse salt. And give that a good rub in. Used to always use oil on your pork skin to try and get it to crackle, but apparently a very good chef, professional chef, told me don't use oil on your crackle. Righto, I think that's good enough and ready to go in the camp oven. We'll just keep the flies off of that while we get the oven ready to go, and we'll drop her in. Righto, so we've got it in the oven. Just going to give it another hit with the salt just to make sure it's got plenty of salt on it, because I love my salt, even though your doctor probably tells you otherwise on your crackling. Then I've already preloaded the lid with coals while we were preheating the oven to make sure you get plenty of heat in that first 30 minutes to make sure that all that heat's on top. It's already starting to sizzle there now. You want to make sure the first 30 minutes is critical to get it to crackle. So we'll drop that lid back on. Oh, we've got this preloaded. There's definitely plenty of heat in that. You can't even hold your hand over it. Now, the technical bit of cooking a roast pork in the camp oven is that a bit of tie wire. That's what I use anyway. In that first half an hour, you want to just crack the lid that little bit to let all the steam, any moisture out of there, so that the skin crackles, and then you pull that out after half an hour and you should still have a nice moist roast pork. It'll probably take an hour and a half to 2 hours to cook that size in the camp oven. So we'll just slip that in and then we'll let it go. And that is that. Give that half an hour and then we'll pull the wire out. It should be starting to crackle by then. And then we might have to put some more coals on. Make sure you got plenty of heat, but not too much. That first half an hour is critical to have that top of the camp oven loaded up with coals, so all that heat's going. Dark, so it should be done. I haven't checked it in quite a while, but I did check it not long after I said the half an hour, and the crackling should be ready, but I don't think it's crackled real good, and that's just due to the wood. There's just not enough heat straight up. Anyway, we'll crack the lid here and just see what we've got. Find the handle. Oh, there we go. That's definitely cooked, but just not enough crackle. There's a little bit there, but that's still very edible. Stick the thermometer into there and just check that the inside temperature's right. About 70, 75 I think we're aiming for. And then it'll be roast pork rolls without the crackle. Is that right, Mandy?
It's fine, and yeah.
You can't get it right all the time, that's all I can say. Plus we had a malfunction with the camera earlier and I missed out on a lot of detail, but I think that was either due to operator error, not turning the camera on to record, or just too hot sitting beside the fire in 30 odd degree heat and the camera turned off. So anyway, we'll get this off the fire, we'll go and enjoy a roast pork roll, and we'll see you tomorrow. Don't you just love waking up on these different campsites on a Sunday morning? So peaceful here. It is just delightful to be here, actually. Still a few planes flying over this morning, a little bit of noise off the road, but overall this campsite has been great. And the owners themselves are actually campers, so that's why they've got this place set up so nice. But this campsite that we're at, like I said earlier, is not for everyone to use, but you may be able to request to use this site if you wanted to come here and check it out. The only issue that we got in here all right on Friday afternoon, which was great. It was all downhill, a little bit tight to get in around a couple of corners, but we've got to get the van back up this hill. So it's not too bad. It's a little bit on the steep side, but it's loose and gravelly. As long as we can get some traction, we should be able to pull 2.5 tonne of our van back up there. Hopefully the D-Max in low range will get us up there all right. But it's this little tight pinch at the top here. You just got to Try and straddle this drain a bit, and then we're right. It does get a little bit steep just on that pinch, so I think we'll be right. Just wanted to walk it and make sure we're going to be right with that drain there if we straddle it. This probably doesn't show how steep it is, but it's a fairly decent gradient, but we'll crawl up it all right. Go and put the kettle on one last time, have a coffee, and then we'll pack up, hook her on, and we'll see if we can get out of this hill. Well worth a little bit of effort to get in here, but more a bit of effort to get out. So if you know what you're doing, you can do it safely. You don't want to get halfway up there and you start rolling backwards down the hill if you lose traction. Well guys, there you go. We made it. There's a little bit of wheel slip getting up there, but for the D-Max, not a problem. But you definitely wouldn't attempt that in a two-wheel drive car, and I definitely wouldn't bring any bigger van up there than our 16-foot Starcraft at about 2.5 tonne. So just a little bit loose and slippery. Not overly steep, but we got up there. So that brings us to the end of another weekend adventure. Best part about this one is that we've had a great weekend, and the Tranquil Bush Retreat, Sheldon, near enough to Mount Cotton. Now we've got a big 15-minute drive home. Thanks very much for watching. We'll end this video here. If you haven't seen enough yet, please watch these other videos on the screen now. Thank you. See you later. Stay safe.